ولقد يسرنا القرآن للذكر فهل من مدكر.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. I seek refuge in Allah from Shaitan, the rejected one. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. With the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. I greet you with the universal greeting of peace. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today we are looking at Sura Araaf, sections 9 and 10. We're looking at verses 65 onwards. And we see that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala discusses the story of the different prophets in the next few sections, which we will do. And we see that all of them, we will see that most of them came with a message that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent them to their own brethren, their own people, because they were aware of the situation in their society, as well as the society knew the character of the messenger that was sent to them. Secondly, also they came with the same message, which is U'budullah, worship Allah, ma lakum min ilahin ghayruh. That is, besides Allah, you have no other God but Him. And that is the same as the kalima, which is La ilaha illallah. There is no God but Allah. So we see that all the prophets came with the message of Tawheed. So we will look at verses 65 onwards. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. To the Ad people we sent Hud, one of their own brethren. He said, O my people, worship Allah. You have no other God but Him. Will you not fear Allah? Afala tattaqun. Won't you be conscious of Allah? Won't you love righteously? Then we see again the same trend as was mentioned in the past. The leaders of the unbelievers among His people said, the leaders, the people who want to keep the status quo, they do not want to change in the level of authority in the society, the control that they have. When a new message comes, a revolutionary idea from the Rasuls, they are the first to oppose the messenger. So here we see the leaders of the unbelievers among the people said, we see you are an imbecile and we think you are a liar. So we see that they smeared his character and they smeared his message as well. So in this case, they said, we see you are an imbecile. They said, you are a crazy guy. And we think you are a liar. The message that you are claiming to be from God, you are lying. There's no such thing that took place. But we see that Hud alayhi salam clarifies this himself. And he said, oh my people, I am no imbecile, but I am a Rasul, I am an apostle from the Lord and cherisher of the worlds. I am a Rasul, I am a messenger that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent me to you to remind you about turning to Him and moving away from your false worship. And he continues with his discussion and he says, I but fulfill towards you the duties of my Lord's mission. I am to you a sincere and trustworthy advisor. Nasihun Amin. So he said Nasihun Amin. He gives them nasiha, he gives them advice. And he said, I am a sincere advisor to you. Verse 69, the Hud alayhi salam is continuing. Do you wonder that there has come to you a messenger from your Lord through a man of your own people to warn you? Call in remembrance that He made you inheritors after the people of Nuh and gave you a stature tall among the nations. Call in remembrance the benefits you have received from Allah, that so you may prosper. So here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is reminding through Hud alayhi salam to tell His people that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given them so many benefits, and they are the succession of the people of Nuh alayhi salam, and they have a stature tall among the nations. They are a powerful nation. And then we see that they continue with the discussion. They said, come you to us that we may worship Allah alone and give up the cult of our forefathers. So they did not want to give up their false worship. They didn't want to give up the power base that they had. Bring us what you threaten us with, if so be that you tell the truth. So they didn't want to change in the status quo, so they used propaganda to destroy the message, try to destroy the message of the messenger that was sent to them. He said, punishment and wrath have already come upon you from your Lord. Dispute you with me over names which you have devised, you and your fathers. without authority from Allah, then wait, I am among you also waiting. So the Prophet told them, Hud alayhi salam told them, Allah's punishment will come to you if you do not change your ways and if you do not want to listen to His message after the clear guidance has come to you. But they did not listen. And as a result, in verse 72, we read, we saved him and those who adhered to him by our mercy, and we cut off the roots of those who rejected our signs and did not believe. So, as a result of the stubbornness, the wrongdoing that they were doing, the wrong that they were doing, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala destroyed them. Then we look at the next section, section 10. We look at the story of Thamud. We read, to the Thamud people we sent Salih, one of their own brethren. He said, O my people, worship Allah, you have no other God but Him. Now has come unto you a clear sign from your Lord. The she-camel of Allah is a sign unto you. So leave her to graze in Allah's earth and let her come to no harm, or you shall be seized with a grievous punishment. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent Saleh to the Thamud and he tested them with the she-camel. And the idea was that they should let the she-camel drink from their water on certain days and their own their cattle can drink on other days. So the lesson for me here is that we have to share our resources in society. If you look at us today, when we have businesses and we have resources, we want to monopolize and we want to tyrannize and we want to basically set certain we basically control the cost and we control the resources and we decide on the supply and demand, and we basically create a society where we oppress the poor. The poor become the victims of this monopoly and this control that has been meted out to them in terms of the rich and those that are conglomerates that basically control the prices in the society. So that's the way I look at the story of the she-camel. And we see that they didn't want to tolerate the she-camel. They didn't want to share the resources with the larger community as such. But we continue, verse 74, and remember how we made you inheritors after the Ad people and gave you habitations in the land. You build for yourselves palaces and castles in open plains and carve out homes in the mountains. So bring to remembrance the benefits you have received from Allah and refrain from evil and mischief on the earth. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave them resources. They had such architectural advantages to the extent that they could carve homes into the mountains. If you go to Petra today, you will see that in Petra there's homes that have been carved out from the mountains. And today, architecturally, it is a very difficult thing to do. And we see that they had the means so many years ago to build these beautiful palaces in the mountains, which is a very technologically advanced feat in terms of today's time. The leaders of the arrogant party among his people said to those who are reckoned powerless, again, the leaders compared to those who are reckoned powerless, those among them who believe, know you indeed that Saleh is a Rasul from his Lord? They said, we do indeed believe in the revelation which has been sent through him. The arrogant party said, for our party, we reject what you believe in. So the arrogant party did not want to listen to Saleh and they didn't want to share the resources, and they had technology so that they could build homes out of the mountains. And as a result, because they didn't want to tolerate the she-camel and sharing the resources with the poor and the rest of the society, they decided to eliminate the competition. That's why in verse 77 we read, then they hamstrung the she-camel and insolently defied the order of their Lord, saying, O Saleh, bring about thy threat if you are a Rasul of Allah. So they hamstrung the she-camel. We read further in the later surahs. So if we look at Surah 91, Surah Shams, we read from verse 11, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. كذبت ثمود بطغواها. The Thamud people rejected the Prophet through their inordinate wrongdoing. Behold, the most wicked among them was deputed for impiety. But the Rasul of Allah said to them, it is a she camel of Allah, and bar her not from having her drink. Then they rejected him. Then they rejected him as a false prophet, and they hamstrung her. So the Lord, on account of their crime, obliterated their traces and made them equal in destruction, high and low, and for him is no fear of its consequences. So that is the story of Saleh alayhi salam and the Thamud, and we see that they weren't prepared to share the resources, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala destroyed them. So verse 78, Allah describes in our section in Surah 7. So the earthquake took them unawares, and they lay prostrate in their homes in the morning. So Saleh left them, saying, O my people, I did indeed convey to you the message from which I was sent by my Lord. I gave you good counsel, but you love not good counselors. Nasihin again is used here. So Saleh alayhi salam basically did his duty in spreading the message of Allah, but his people rejected him, and as a result, they were destroyed. Then verse 80 we read, we also sent Lut. He said to his people, do you commit lewdness such as no people in creation ever committed before you? For you practice your lust on men in preference to women. You are indeed a people transgressing beyond bounds. So here we see another prophet is mentioned where Allah talks about Lut alayhi salam. And Lut alayhi salam was sent to the people of Sodom and Gomorrah historically. Now, if you look at this verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, we sent Lut to, he said to his people, do you commit lewdness? Ata'atuna al-fahishata. So the word for lewdness here is fahisha. So fahisha is basically immorality. It's basically in the Quran referring to things like zina. Also fahisha is used, so it's basically a sexual immorality. So we see that according to the Quran, the people of Lut committed fahisha. Fahisha is lewdness, and that is the point that's highlighted here. Such as no people in creation ever committed before you, for you practice your lust on men in preference to women. So it is clearly defined that they committed fahisha, and the fahisha is described as homosexuality. So it's clear homosexuality is not allowed from the Quran. So there's no justification of homosexuality. The Quran makes it clear that homosexuality is a fahisha, just as zina is a fahisha, and zina is a capital crime in Islam. And we see that basically the fact that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses the word fahisha to describe homosexuality shows that it is a major crime in Islam. And Allah says, for you are indeed a people transgressing beyond bounds. Bal antum qawmun musrifun. They are people that have committed israf. They've extended the limits of what is normal and acceptable in Islam. So basically in today's society we see that there is a lot of promotion of the LGBTQ movement and the society as such, and as believers it is clear cut. There's no way in which we can say otherwise, but the Quran tells you clearly that LGBTQ is haram. And I think that is the lesson that we learn from this, that we should not get caught up with this LGBTQ movement by condoning their behavior, because it is against the natural law of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We have to realize that the law of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala supersedes all types of law that we have in our life. And basically, if Allah says LGBTQ is haram, then we should also say that it is haram. And his people gave no answer but this. They said, drive them out of the city. These are indeed men who want to be clean and pure. But when Lut alayhi salam came to his homosexual society and preached to them, we see that they said, drive him out of the city. These are men who want to be clean and pure. These are what they want to be holier than us. They think they're too holy. They're big sheikhs. They're big hazrats, or whatever the case may be. Basically, they say no, they are holier than thou. They think that they are on the right path. They'll basically use any means in which they can downplay the truth of the message. But we saved him and his wife, and we saved him and his family. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saved him and his family, except his wife. She was of those who lagged behind. So the wife of Lut alayhi salam lagged behind, and from my understanding, that would refer to condoning this LGBTQ lifestyle that was prevalent in their society. And we rained down on them a shower of brimstone. Then see what was the end of those who indulge in sin and crime. So Allah says, they are mujrimeen. They are those who indulge in sin and crime. So we can see homosexuality again is described here as a sin and a crime, mujrimun. We can look at the cross reference, and this section is mentioned a few times in the Quran. We'll just look at one cross reference, Surah 26, section 9, verse 160. We'll read Surah Shu'ara. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. The people of Lut rejected the Rasuls. Behold, their brother is called lahum akhuhum Lutan. So their brother Lut said to them, he was part of the society, will you fear Allah? Allah tattakun, I am to you a Rasul worthy of all trust. So fear Allah and obey me. Fattakullaha wa ati'un. No reward do I ask of you of it. My reward is only from the Lord of the worlds. Of all the creatures in the world, will you approach males and leave those whom Allah has created for you to be your mates? There you are, people transgressing all limits. They said, if you desist not, O Lut, you will assuredly be cast out. He said, I do detest your doings. O my Lord, deliver me and my family from such things as they do. So we delivered him and his family, all, except an old woman who lingered behind. But the rest we destroyed utterly. We rained down on them a shower of brimstone, and evil was the shower of those who were admonished but heeded not. Verily, this is a sign, but most of them do not believe. And verily, thy Lord is He, the exalted in might, most merciful. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala destroyed the people of Lut with a shower of brimstone. Now, some say that maybe the brimstone came from a meteorite that was sent down to destroy the people in the Dead Sea as we see today. Others say there was a volcano nearby, and the volcano erupted, and there was a high concentration of sulfur in the brimstone that was released from this volcano, and as a result, nothing grows in the Dead Sea today because of this high sulfur content. So that is basically the story of Lut alayhi salam. There is one or two other places where the story of Lut alayhi salam is used, is discussed, but we won't go there. So we'll end today's section with those two. We'll end today's session with those two sections. The two sections that we did was the story of Ad, and the prophet Hud came to them, and they didn't listen to him. They basically were stubborn in their ways, and Allah destroyed them. And then we saw the people of Saleh came, and they had a she-camel to the Thamud, and the Thamud people destroyed the she-camel because they did not want to share their resources. And they had the skill of carving homes out of the mountains, but we see that the high technological advancement was an excuse for their moral degradation. So as a result, because they were not morally pure, the technological advancement meant that they had to be called to task. The technological advancement is important, but it must be coupled with morality. And we see that that wasn't the case on their on their side, and as a result they were destroyed. So Allah destroyed them with an earthquake. And then we conclude our section with Lut AS. We see that they commit fahisha, which is a major crime, where the same word is used for zina, which is a major crime in Islam. And they committed a crime of homosexuality. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us that we cannot condone the LGBTQ movement according to the Quranic standards. And with that, we will conclude today's section. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
ولقد يسرنا القرآن للذكر فهل من مدكر